Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Today is about my financial planner. Um, so this is a A5. It's a Moterm, like all my other ones. I'm very middle grade with a lot of my things. Because I want the aesthetic, but I also am very functional with my planning. So, I got this used. I usually get things off of Poshmark or Mercari. Marker. I don't know how to say it. Anyway, which I love that one actually the most. Mercari. I'm gonna say it that way, and then probably when I'm done with this, I'll be like, no, this is how you say it. Or you guys can like totally correct me below. I have sold some things off of there. I just find the user interface so much easier than like eBay and even Poshmark. But I have to say, like, just that's where I find most of my stuff. And eBay. Yeah, I use all three. So if you see a lot of covers, they're usually secondhand. This I had been planning to put together for quite a while. This kind of, I just realized, I don't know if you can see that. It kind of juts out here. Doesn't do it at the bottom. It's well loved. It's quirky. It's fun. Anyway, I've been trying to put this together for a while. I have been using it for a while as well. And so this is a planner I put together to really organize finances. I have really worked hard on them, and basically this is like, I would say like the last 5 years. I've been doing a lot of work on just making sure they're organized. And with ADHD, you can miss things, right? It's very, very hard. Along with this, I have digital things as well. So I have an app called Chronicle. I'm on the Mac, so I have an app called Chronicle that has all the digital reminders, and they put them on my calendar because I use for most days I have a digital calendar with a lot of reminders on it. And I'm trying to think of like how much of this journey should I share. And I think there can be a lot of anxiety about money. And I'm not even going to go into like the social and systematic things. This is just what I use. And you might be able to look at parts of this and see if they might work for you. So I started off with just, let me see if I can explain this. So I have like a paper ledger. It's in the back here. I'll show you the outside of the book. And also to preface, I'm not showing any of my numbers. These are printouts that I'm getting ready for the new year. But I removed like all the things that were very important. And I thought maybe, I could show how I plan out the month, but I'll talk about it. But if I showed you, I would be like saying like so many different account names. They're not numbers or anything, but it just didn't feel right. Especially with like, I don't know, with AI tools out there and being able to just look at all the transcriptions of things. I'm not like overly paranoid about things, but AI can look at transcripts of videos and piece together, and again, like there's so much that somebody could already piece together and find me. It's kind of scary, but I don't need to have like all my financial numbers out there as well. So I have used a paper ledger for a long time. It's much like it's in book form, but it's just like a check ledger, just a checkbook where you track down all of those expenses. I also have used, I've gone between a couple managers that pull in all your info from banks and stuff. I use those more for taxes at the end of the year to see the yearly totals, but I'm also I rely heavily on a spreadsheet that I will link down below that I have mentioned, and it has it for like the entire year. This is like a great time to like set it up. I'm kind of wrapping it up for the year, and it's a lot. I like having both because I catch things. I also am dyslexic, so there's many times where I will reverse some numbers or what number? Like 5s and 8s. No, like 8s and 3s. 8s and 3s, like I will not quite see correctly. So when I have both digital and paper, I find my mistakes. It probably is too much for a lot of people, but this is how I stay vigilant and keep track of everything. It's a lot. I'm not like quite saying use this whole way that I'm doing things, because I think it would be too much for people. I think there's other people who are really good at numbers, who just need a little guidance and they have their systems kind of set. I think there's other people who are like, this is way too complicated. This wouldn't work for me. And so again, like, I needed one place that when I sit down to do our bills and any kind of transactions, that I could come to one place, and then pull up my digital helpers and go through things. So this is what I came up with, and I'll make sure it doesn't catch on fire. But I wanted to light a candle because this can be a stressful thing. So I always try to make this as like appealing and as helpful and as straightforward as possible, and to feel good about what I'm putting in here. I also have this little pin. I put pins on my black Moturn covers, and it just kind of reminds me that I want our financial situation to grow really big and to keep watering it. And the Monstera plants grow big. I have one. It is probably 2/3 of the way up the wall going up to the ceiling. It is gorgeous. But yeah, it kind of reminds me of like, keep at this, grow it. You're doing awesome. And yeah, again, I'm not going to go into like our investments or anything like that, but this is like the everyday tool. Our investments I track just digitally. I don't really track them in here because, I mean, stock market variations, like you can't write it down because, I mean, you can, and that could be something that you do. So for the most part, when you open it up, let's see if I can make sure I get the whole thing here. I actually just put this in here. And this is the Sterling Ink, just the booklet. And I realized that a lot of my financial stuff revolves around food purchases. So I'm penciling this in and kind of seeing how this goes for December. I've showed this before. This is just like what meat is in our freezer and how we're using it. According to like what our meals are. And I thought, you know what, I could just slip this in the front. Or, I could also just put it in like this. But I loved how like the gold and the black matched here. Actually, you can't see that very well. Let me tip this just slightly because I am using natural light today. So this says today. And I got this from Crossbow. And I just loved it. It says yesterday, today, tomorrow, consistency precedes excellence. I'm a little torn because for me, consistency can be like, you can be as consistent as possible until your energy and possible chronic illnesses, like all that can get in the way. So you can be consistent to what works with your energy. I will say that. But I just love that, like, today, it just reminds me to kind of come in here and check every day. Now here is where I keep all the credit cards here. Again, I'm like kind of like, hinting at a little bit there, but what I do is I take these, and they are from Poi and Hun, and they were just free, and so I'm like, oh, that's the shape of a card. I write the like perks of the credit card, and I put it on the back of the card, and like the credit limit and stuff like that. Well, we don't really need to worry about percentage rates because those are going up and down too, right? But if there's like a percentage intro rate for a little while, I'll put it on there, or just any kind of. What I really needed it for was like, okay, if I'm getting groceries, which card do I use? Okay, if I'm getting gas, which card do I use? That's basically, where I'm at. And so I was like, and some of them overlap, and some of them we have more points with, and then some of them, you use all the perks and you move on. So I needed to get that organized, and I'll kind of talk about it some more in another tabbed area here in the back. So that's kind of the front part, and just being able to like easily store, and then I have all this room here too. Yeah, I do have a lot of cards, and so I actually have them mostly filled. I have business cards. I have multiple checking accounts, so for different things. Like one's for gifts, one's for bills, one's for, so there's some things. And I just wanted a place where I could store all the cards, and I could get one out in case one had a perk that came up, and I just wanted to be able to use that. And usually it's like every 3 months, right? It's kind of like every quarter. Yeah, and then these tabs are actually, let's see if I can kind of show them. They're kind of, if you can see, textured a little bit. And I got those also from Crossbow, who did this. And I know this would probably drive a lot of people a little bananas, but I don't want to have these labeled because I do switch things around. So I actually just left them blank, and I kind of have muscle memory for what is what. So when you go into this, and you'll see a lot is from Crossbow, and then there's some other printouts. I have like a yearly vellum here for 2024. It's mostly just to like check days of the week or if something's coming up. I don't know if I'll write on this much, but I just kind of needed something in here that showed the whole year. And I also have, it's actually already filled out, but it says birthdays here. You get like 3 of them. You get, what were they called? One said birthdays, one said anniversaries, and I think the other one said at a glance. So these were pre-printed, and this is their little Crossbow planner there. And this, I just want to keep track of, like, if I need to buy somebody a gift coming up. This is just kind of like a quick overview of the year. So that's all that section is. This section here, I also got like the vellums that have the month on them. And then it just says like a little saying here. This one says a time for new beginnings, but like each month, let's see, they are... Sorry, I had to stand up for a minute. Each one has like a little saying, and I just kind of liked them because it kind of made me feel like, oh, a time for new beginnings, definitely January. A time to build healthy habits, a time for setting priorities, a time to develop and grow. They're just, kind of nice. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them in the financial one, or I have another planner I'm kind of considering. It's more of like management of the house stuff. So, but I kind of thought, well, why don't I put it here to start? And then this is by Poi and Hun. And then what I'm doing is, and this is the part I really wanted to show. So I use erasable ink, as you guys know, but I have all colors. So I have like thicker, I guess they're not nibs because they're not fountain pens, but thicker points and then thinner points. I mainly use these over here, and then I have some refills there, but these are what I use to color code. So I have business expenses. I usually put in green. I actually use like bright pink for the credit cards because I didn't want to have red because it's just, I feel like red is like an uh-oh color. I put things in red if I'm like considering like canceling the subscription, like, oh, on this day it's in red. So that's something I really need to pay attention to maybe cancel before that comes up. I'm going to be writing in all the dates and the months on these. I've been doing that on a few other ones, but I love that this has like 6 lines so that you don't have to like, if it lines up that there's only one day in the first or last week, that you don't have to like squeeze it in. I use pink for the credit cards because that stands out more, and I really pay attention to closing dates because I'm just trying to like zero them out. As you guys have known, it's a game I play. Because as you know, credit cards, you won't be charged interest if you pay in full every month. And so you can carry a balance on there. It's not that. But I just like to make sure, to me, it feels like I can zero out the last month. That I can say, oh, from that point on, I don't owe anything. I know that that's a cutoff point, that I'm going into the new cycle, and it's very clear what new charges are. If I ever had to carry a balance, I would know, okay, I started at 0, and then from that point on, maybe I take 2 months to pay it off. Car stuff, medical stuff, whatever those really big expenses are. And yes, like I know there are like payment plans and other things that you can, this is not what this video is about. So then I do like subscriptions, are one color. So mainly like digital subscriptions of like Hulu and Disney Plus, that kind of stuff. Putting that in, and any kind of like savings transfers I have in another color of like, okay, I'm putting this much into, basically they're like sinking funds. So this is the one for all the utilities, and then I take things out for the utilities for that one. This is for, I don't know, anything for my son. That's, it's more like a bunch of sinking funds accounts, but at the beginning of the month, I'm putting a bunch of savings in there so that, when we get those bi-monthly bills or however often, that they're not like, oh, that's coming up. I have a whole account, like a separate account for just once a year bills. So I'd like add up all the bills for the year, and then I just put a monthly amount into that, just sinking funds, So, and then I always have some kind of notes down here. So like, oh, well, this I canceled, or this is going to be more next month, or this was a one-time charge we had to deal with. Just for example, like Ridwell that we use here, they kind of changed their subscriptions a little bit. So we upgraded to, to have them collect more from us, but then we had a credit on our account. And so I just kept track of that, of like, okay, we had like 4 months credit. So I just wanted to keep track down here of like what the balance was, and it was taking out every time. And it kept me like so clear on what that was moving forward. It was so nice. And it could be, like, oh, we have to have like a one-time bill. There's always notes. I always thought, oh, this is all I need. No, there's definitely, I'll be using like all of this down here. So I have one for each month, and then I'll use this bookmark to go to the month that we're on. Now this is from Paper Test Designs. It's a printable. And so what I really missed though, and I actually have not used this yet, was like seeing the bills and just checking them off. I used to use one like this from Inkwell Press. Way back in the day, she made one. And it was really nice just to see like, hey, I'm checking these off every month. It's not due yet. I really like this for like every other month. I also think like, you know, you could do once a year on here. And actually it's on the other side here where you have monthly bills, which I don't think that's quite enough. So I printed two. And I may only use like the front of one and then these two as like, here's monthly bills, here's quarterly bills, here's annual. We have probably at least 10 for annual. These are like, I guess because we've been doing more like how do we pay for a year on things to save a bit more for things we know we're going to use. Yeah, like some of the streaming subscriptions you can get a bigger discount. But then I know one of our streaming discounts for Hulu, we get more of a discount if we're monthly. So it really depends, right? Like, and it really depends on your priorities too. So I also wanted to see like putting in the bills. So that's 2 pages there. But then there's these where I wanted to see how the amount and the date and everything for each individual bill. This is what I kind of really missed, was seeing those side by side, because when you see them in a ledger, they're mixed in with everything else. But I think it's really helpful to see them individual. And so these have just backs and fronts. And I just printed off, 4 back and fronts here. So that's 8 per page times 4, 32. I might have to do a couple more. We got a lot going on. But I track everything. So I'm really excited to get this set up. I think that'll be really good. And then this is our savings tracker, and this is more like pure savings, right? Like this is not sinking funds because, things would be going in and out all the time, but this is just a date deposit. And so having an actual goal, this is May Paper Co. and another printable that I got. And then it has room on the back for 2 columns of just adding to your goal as well. And so we had some really good savings goals before my husband was laid off. It was really, and we want to get back to this. He's still unemployed, and he's been doing a lot of project work, but it would be nice. And we're just seeing like so many people are still getting laid off in so many different industries. So I know it's rough out there. But once we're kind of like back to it, there's like 3 big savings goals there that we'd like to do. And then in the back here, I also want to like write out what each credit card, like some more info about them. So I might even have like a page per card. And I think I've looked around. There might be a printable for this that might be a little bit more clear. But this is just Moxie Life. I had some lined paper from them that was A5. I got it actually on accident because I was thinking it was... I think it was like more HP Classic size, and I just didn't realize it was A5. And now that I have it, now I have an A5 with rings, I can just pop these in here. So this was that section of just, I might look for a printable of just like, this is the credit card, the limit, any kind of info about it. And nothing that's like constantly changing. Again, like interest rates are just going to keep constantly changing. And then here, in the very back, I'd like to have what just the closing total for every month is in our checking, our main account, because I can have like a ledger, I can have, and it kind of does repeat in our ledger. and I have a spreadsheet, but if I alter anything in the spreadsheet before that month that I close off, then it gets easily messed up. So I go here and I go, okay, if these spreadsheets are off, if something's off in there, I go here first and I look at the total for like February and I'm like, okay, that matches, we're good. And I try to lock it in the spreadsheet, but sometimes you have to kind of like rename things to have your system go better. And then you have to go back through and do drop downs to reselect all those named things. And sometimes you miss one. And so just having those yearly totals, I might track something else besides the checking one. I don't know. We'll see. And so that's pretty much it for the printouts. And then I have this, what I do is I keep receipts in here. And in here, anything that's kind of like important that maybe these are bills that I need to pay next. I've only used this a little bit here, but yeah, I would use this for bills. This is for receipts. When I first got this, it wouldn't turn. So I had to punch some like new holes. Now it turns fine. I also save the receipts because you can get some extra points if you do their surveys. And I like to do that because it's through Kroger. We love their extra fuel miles, fuel points. And then this is my ledger for the back here. I very much pull this whole thing out and then balance everything in here. This will keep multiple years worth. So I have years and months, on every single page, so I kind of know what I can flip to. I think this has been like 2 years now, and I'm halfway through the book. So I'll try to link this below. I think it's still available on Amazon, but I love it. There is like a little elastic on there, but I just kind of tuck it in. And then having more cards here. I don't keep anything in here because it might get lost. But what I started off with was, having this all the time. But I'm like, you know what? I just need something to support this more and to be able to keep this in the back, to keep this all together. And so like when I come to balance, I'll go to today, whatever month that is, and pull this out and then use it that way. So it is very like clean and printed right now. And again, I just have to show this shiny. I'm seeing this perfect reflection of it. I know you can't really see it unless I tip it. But that's about it for right now. And yeah, sometimes I do, if there's something like too big, I'll kind of tuck it there. I don't keep anything in here or in here, but I just wanted something really, I guess I could have had something really inviting. I think my health planner is very inviting. I think it's very like fun and kind of like, I don't know, there's a bunch of colors in there, and there will be colors once I put more here. It's not quite as cute. I'm not going to really put any stickers in here, although I mean, I could. But this is more like, no, I'm taking this very seriously. I have worked really hard, and I feel fantastic about where I am with my financials. It's taken a lot of hard work, and I'm proud of that. I'm really proud of that. And I know what it feels like to not be proud of that. And I think a lot of us in our 20s go through, like trying to figure out how to play the game of money. There's a lot of game playing, but there's a lot of like, it's very long term. It's very long term. And that's what I wanted to kind of convey in this, is that this is a system that's going to work for many, many years. I'm not having like one planner and then getting rid of it. I needed something that, with rings, that was modular, that fit something that's going to be here for many years, and I would replace it. It just is a very perennial, I guess. Perennials come back every year, right? Very perennial, very, keeps coming back. And that's what I really like about it. So I just wanted to share that. I've been using it for a while, as I said. It's really working. It has its little quirks, like this little corner, and a pin and stuff. But I also got something on the cover, and I've tried to clean it, and you can't even see it. Well, you can see it there, and it bothers me a little bit. But you know what? This is imperfect. I think money can be kind of messy, and you have to like go in there and keep cleaning it up and keep getting it organized and really planning for the future. And it is a big part of planning. And that's why I wanted to like bring this up on my channel. And there can be a lot of hospital bills, a lot of things with chronic illness that trying to stay on top of it. I may even have a section in here just with healthcare costs. Now, I usually put those into more digital format because those can vary so much. But I was really thinking about like maybe in one of these sections back here of just keeping like it's therapy copays. Doctor copays aren't so bad because to me those are one-offs and they stand alone. But when you have like weekly therapy for multiple people, it's really hard to keep track of those. And then all of a sudden, like they charge your card automatically and you're like, what's going on? Yeah, I think I might build that into here. I just didn't have it set up for this, but I probably will in January by that point. If I do, I will probably like on a weekly plan with me, just jump in and say, oh, I got this cool printout and I can show it to you, because I won't show the whole thing again unless I have some really big shifts in here. Maybe I'll check in halfway through the year next year and see how this is all going. So take care. Thank you everyone for watching. Like and subscribe on your way out. I know my extra videos here are kind of like, they're all kind of different. So health planner, financial planner. I'm going to have a setup of my main planner. And yeah, and then my stickers, you don't have to watch that one, but if you're into stickers, it's something you can watch. Thank you everyone. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye.